So what's new?
Oh boy.
Live stream. Oh.
Got you.
What's up, guys? You guys are here early. I appreciate that. Presentation is going to start officially at 6:40, but I will be here to talk to you guys, answer any questions and such. I'm also be hanging out, getting ready. This is probably TMI, but I haven't showered yet today, so I'm gonna go do that, get ready, freshen up, and yeah, I'm excited. I think the slides are all here, and there's some exciting stuff to show off. So that's what I'm up to over the next hours, just preparing, making sure we're ready. All the announcements are ready. Gameplay showcase crossed out. Gameplay is crossed out because we are not going to be showing gameplay, but we will be showing a bunch of stuff that's in-game. We'll be showing stills. So we just don't like how it looks in movement. We're going to give you as much as we possibly can. I did give a heads up about this on Twitter yesterday, but we will give you a lot to chew on. So it's definitely going to be worth watching. And as always, any and all of your feedback will go to making the game even better. So definitely stick around. Hey, Derpiacy. Hey, Jade. Yes. And I will say that there's just a lot of fun stuff in the works here. So for now, I'm just going to get back to work here. But hello to you all for being here early. I'll probably check back in a bit. I do want to make an edit to a couple slides. But yeah, hello. Hey, I'm just going to answer your question in Slacks. The keys, basically, this is the process. We're probably going to change it a little bit because there have been so many issues with it. Essentially, sound's not coming and going. I muted it. I should put a little notification that I muted myself or something like that. Here, let me think about that. Let me add some text here. There you go. I'm muted, but I'm not. Let me take that off for a second. So basically, the way it works is you sign up, you get an email, you confirm, and then you'll get an email to our Discord after you confirm your email. And for some reason, that's like falling apart. That's like people aren't getting that Discord email. So I am going to clean that up a little bit and give people the invite when they confirm. I'll give them the Discord invite right away. And maybe I'll even change that right now because I'm expecting a lot of people to come in after the stream. So, hey, your question, It's Lax, just made our process that much easier. I'm gonna go fix that after I change the slide. So thank you for that. And by the way, if you haven't gotten it yet, um, it's probably in your spam because it is there. There are like 15% of people we send emails to don't open them with the keys, and I think that's because it's going to spam. So yeah. Adam Crossing, do I know you from somewhere? Well, this used to be the Icons Combat Arena channel, and I bought that game studio as one of their co-founders, and we are streaming a lot about a new game that's actually based on the Icons engine, but we're taking a lot of those pieces and reworking a lot of it to make it a brand new game, and I think hopefully a really impressive fighting game. So that's probably where you know me from, and I do a lot of the streams here on this channel. All right, I'm going to go mute it again, but thank you for the question. If there's any more, I might pop back in and answer them. Or I might come back after a little bit and answer the questions later. The only other thing I can suggest is that you try applying again with a different email, and hopefully it doesn't get filtered out somehow. That's the best I can offer. Alternatively, you can show, you can email me, chris@vortexrising.com. I'll just type it in here. And I'll take care of you. But it would be much easier, much faster if you just try again with a different email because obviously I'm very busy running the studio and it's very time consuming to manually take care of these for you. So do try to figure it out on your own, and if you can't, then you can always email me and I will get to it. Check out this post about the why gameplay's crossed out. There will be a lot to chew on the stream. All right. I will be back. Again, if you have any questions, again, appreciate you guys being early. Feel free to ask me some, and I'll try to answer them selectively while I work and prepare. Hey guys, appreciate y'all being here early. Cleaned up now, and I'm trying to find the gameplay. Yeah, pretty much. Let me go ahead and post my copy pasta, I guess, for this stream. Let's see. Um, yeah, thanks for tuning in early. Appreciate it, guys. I'm gonna go back on mute here. What's up, guys? Got all the announcements out of the way. I think we're clear for takeoff here. Just any good questions in chat while I've been away? I would say that someone asked something. Would you say it's iconic? I would say that there's actually some stuff in Vortex Rising that I think will become iconic, and I'm really excited about that. Hey, Simply Wacky. Hey, Kenpai. Hey, Ataru. So yeah, we've got in-game content we're going to be showing off. We're going to show off renders. We're going to show off some changes to animations. We're going to be showing off some changes to some 3D models. We'll be talking about all of this stuff in detail. We'll be talking about Dethroned 2020. We'll be talking about our Call to Arms initiative, and we'll be talking about our advisory program, which is something that we've never talked about publicly before either. So there's a lot that is going to be discussed on the stream today. I got freshly showered and everything, and I even put on a collared shirt. So this is pretty serious, even though we're not going to be showing off actual gameplay per se. We will be showing off a lot of in-game content, and there'll be a lot to chew on for people who have been watching us from afar. There'll be a lot of new content in this stream. Hey, Koki. Hey, Simply Wacky. My stream announcement in Discord says gameplay update. It is a gameplay update. I am going to update you on the gameplay. I'm just not going to show it to you. Sorry. If you want gameplay, you can get it right now. Just go to vortexrising.com and you will get gameplay instantly. There was a question here in the chat actually about getting the Discord invites and how hard it was to get the Discord invites. And I've kind of jiggered some things around on the emails that should make it a lot easier and a lot faster to get your email for pre-beta access in your Discord invite. So very excited about that. I also just want to shout out the fact that we got a really nice retweet from Justin Wong, which was shout outs to him. Thank you for that. And he seems pretty excited about the stream too. So that is pretty sick to get that kind of support from a player like that, especially a traditional FGC player. So some stuff about me, just kind of biding the time a little bit for folks to accumulate. Shapular says, why don't you call it alpha? I like to make up my own words. So yes, it's called pre-beta because it's early. And if you call it alpha, people don't know what alpha is. But if you say, because like these terms are so widely used, and like Mortal Kombat will say it's an alpha, and it's literally like they're about to launch it 2 months later. So I want to call it pre-beta because no one's described what pre-beta is, but it's like beta is early and pre is early. So this is like early. Like I just think it's more communicative of what state we're at for folks. So that was my thoughts on pre-beta. I've got a relatively fresh pot of coffee here that I made this morning. Lupin Pixel's here, dude. Lupin Pixel's been making our music. He's made this track that we're listening to right now. I'm a big fan of his and really excited. Thanks, Twack. It's good to take breaks from Vortex for several reasons. One is it can be a demanding game. But I think also like you leave, you come back, even just like 2 weeks later, it's going to feel like a brand new game because we're just working on the game so fast. I guess while we wait, I can talk about some of the shield mechanics that we're changing publicly. So if you guys are familiar with our gameplay, there is a very, very, very important mechanic. Probably a more important mechanic than any other mechanic that I'm aware of in any other fighting game besides like health. I would say this is like a really important metric, second only to your health. So this mechanic's called spark canceling and sparks. You earn sparks every time you hit somebody, and then you can cancel any attack into any other attack by spending your spark. And then you hit them again, and you get another one. And so you can create these really insane, really expressive combos that allows for a degree of freedom that doesn't exist in any fighting game that I'm aware of, and why the people who like us really love our game. And I want to caveat it, that the people who like us, that's why they really love us. I think if you're a player who really likes the prescriptive nature of certain combos where they very clearly string from one into another, you might find yourself a little bit lost because it's so open-ended. On the flip side, if you're someone who never played a fighting game before, it will feel kind of at home to you because everything works in a way. And what's interesting is as you level up your skill in the game, different things will happen. So as you get more experience with the game, the fact that you're so good at spark canceling with one character means you can basically play any character. And you can play any character in a style that suits you. That spark canceling allows for a flexibility that goes beyond kind of what the character would normally be able to do. And at higher levels of play, when you get good, you're going to play your character in a way nobody else does. So, people will be able to recognize you instantly because you're doing a combo that nobody else does, simply because there's so many options and so many different ways to play. So, talking about shielding now, with that important context, and again, I'm just giving a little bit of background until we start the presentation to give everyone time to show up, shielding was initially made very strong. I want to emphasize it's actually blocking as opposed to shielding, because you currently block in one way. You're facing one way, and we've got a shield that is covering that. And if you can get crossed up as a result. And we have an out of shield option called a shield bash, which basically you lunge forward and you can reflect projectiles and attack people who are very close to you and do like a reset with a slight disadvantage for the person who gets hit. And we needed something like the shield bash because without it, shields were just simply way too weak. You're moving way too fast, and the fact that you can get crossed up meant shielding and defense was very, very weak. Now, we added shield bashing, and we've let it kind of sit and marinate for like 2 or 3 months, and now we're realizing, well, it was too weak. Shield bashing made it too strong, so now we need to come into the middle. And so what we're doing is we're saying shields can be broken now after 5 hits. So you hit someone's shield 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th hit will break the shield. It'll be like as if they weren't even blocking. And we're increasing shield stun to allow for kind of like these blocked strings where you're forcing someone to block. And we're changing shield bash to not be this all-powerful move, and instead making it a bit more of a parry. So it functioned like a parry on projectiles, but now we're going to make it function like a parry on attacks. So it has to like clank with an enemy hitbox, and if it does, it will do the same thing it did before. And what's really interesting about it is we're going to have a lot of on-shield pressure, which is a dimension of the game that literally didn't exist. And I'm really excited to get this introduced. And I know TrueFire, one of our team members, who's particularly awesome, basically spent all night working on that, and hopefully we'll have it up for, by the end of this weekend, I would say. So I think we're with this change, and we'll be tuning it, obviously. I think we're going to go from shields being too weak, shields being too strong, to this position in the middle, and it adds a whole other dimension of play, which is around the blocking and breaking blocks, and intercepting blocks and parrying. And so I'm really, really excited about that because it was a bit overly simplistic. And frankly, a lot of people were using the shield bash like a parry. And in some ways, it's going to make the game feel even more flexible because you'll be able to shield bash out of shield stun. It'll be the only thing you're allowed to do during shield stun. So this is very, very exciting development for us. It's a very recent development, but it is really exciting. Denton, I just saw he asked the question I answered, which was the power shield is going to become a parry-like mechanic. Yes. Scuffing says, have you ever thought about collaborating with other platform fighters? I don't know what collaboration looks like. I think that throwing joint events makes a lot of sense. I think that there's a lot of synergy between them. I actually already collaborate, technically, with another platform fighter called Slayers for Hire. I talk to Winterly regularly. He's in our Discord. I'm in his Discord. He's in our under NDA Discord, so he has stuff he's not allowed to talk about, but he has access to all our mechanics. We've already made all our mechanics public. So, and you know, I asked him for help with like matchmaking the other day. So I'm collaborating with him in a way, but that's not exactly like player-facing collaboration. And I do talk to Dan Fornace, or Dan Fornas, I don't even know how to say his last name, but I do talk to him every once in a while, although we haven't really collaborated as much. I've offered to share our netcode with him because I know that they were looking at netcode for Rivals of Aether, but that ended up not going anywhere because he needed something that was a little bit more of an out-of-the-box solution than our kind of like very bespoke, I would say higher end, but more complicated. That was kind of unnecessary and not really worthwhile for them. Denton says like Shovel Knight is part of Rivals. You mean like character crossovers, guest characters? I'm a big fan of guest characters. We would probably do it differently than other people would. We do have devs from other platform fighters. But yeah, all right. It's 6:40. Let's start. Thank you guys for coming early. Let's get into it. Let's go. So, warning, everything is unfinished. Everything will change over time, but this is the agenda. We're going to talk about why we're here, why we're doing this stream, why are we doing any of this, why does any of this exist, what is the call to arms, what's the gameplay crossed out showcase. We're going to be showing a bunch of in-game content, but it won't be gameplay. And then we're going to be talking about Dethrone 2020, which is a competition we're doing this summer, which will hopefully be high profile and very interesting for players who are serious to get involved in. And then we can talk about next steps and what each of you can do to help out. So let's get into it. First, why? This is a big thing. People might disagree with us. People might say they're happy with the way FGC is, they're happy with the way fighting games are, but we think that FGC and fighting games deserve more. This is the total hours watched for shooters, MOBAs, and fighting games over the course of a year. This is a little bit dated, but it basically includes the first 12 months after Smash Ultimate was released, and it includes the release of Mortal Kombat 11. And so we're talking about the two biggest new fighting games coming out, and we still are like 1/20th of the other genres. And we just think fighting games deserve more. And so that's why we're doing this. We're trying to make a fighting game that will appeal to all types of fighting game players, whether you're an anime fighter, a tag team fighter, a traditional arcade fighter, or a platformer fighter. And we want to make a fighting game that will appeal to people who don't like fighting games, who like co-op content, mini games, team-based PvP. And so that's what we're trying to do. And I think a big part of it, honestly, comes down to like prize pool support as well. But that's another topic for another day. So let's talk about our game. I think what's really interesting to point out, and I've actually, if you're a frequenter of our streams, you'll see this Every single stream, we talk about these 4 things. But I just want to point out one thing, which is that 3 of the 4 of these aren't even about the game itself. And I think that that's important because fighting games are really shallow from a casual player's perspective as a one-on-one game. It's like, okay, what do? I just fight people and then I beat them and then I fight somebody else. Like, okay, like what is there to do? And so we're focusing on a very broad focus. I call it the ecosystem as opposed to the community, because I think that that's part of the way that we get there. I think part of the way that we're going to be different versus other fighting games or other video game developers, period, is this ecosystem-driven focus as opposed to community focus and game focus. And I just want to make a distinction that the difference between ecosystem and community is a community is if this is the game, the community surrounds them, right? And it's like a little world. An ecosystem is a piece of a whole. So it's taking the next layer beyond the quote-unquote community, and it's the people that the community interact with. It's the event organizers, it's the streamers, it's the artists, it's the people who are just playing at home and they're not even necessarily fan of the game, or they're not a hardcore fan of the game, they just enjoy it. It's the people who watch the competitive stuff, and the people that they bring to those events. And the other difference between ecosystem and community is that the community is there for the one thing, whatever that is, and the ecosystem is just there to coexist. They're there for their own reason. They're there for... Oh, I just got distracted by someone saying the word disrespectful in chat. I was like, what did I say that was disrespectful? Oh, shit. I think the other big difference between the ecosystem is that it is about celebrating people's independence. You know, the FGC is independent. It's an ecosystem in its own. And if I think of them selfishly as they're part of my community when they really aren't, they're their own thing. And we should celebrate and respect that autonomy. And that's kind of the difference between ecosystem versus community. Anyway, the game, we want to be the most combo-centric, most expressive, and most fast-paced fighting game, period. We want the experience to have dozens of game modes that flaunt your skill and hook new players. So we don't want the fighting game, the one-on-one experience to be accessible or approachable. We want that to be intimidating and intense and inspiring and exciting. And if we water it down, it's not going to be impressive. It's not going to be exciting. And so what we want to be approachable is we want the broader stuff, the other game modes, the other things that you can do, the co-op stuff, the mini games, the training tools, the trials. We want that to be what's fun for new players. The story, the lore. We want that to appeal to players. We want the connection to be really rich. That is an error. I would say that was originally streamed, I guess, 416. It's supposed to say 5.1 there. Some of the slides, I guess, have the wrong date on them. For the connection, we want the connection to be really meaningful between our players. We want them to feel like they're a part of the ecosystem, but that cares about one another. But I think from a netcode perspective, which is very topical these days, we want to have the best rollback netcode, period. And I can tell you that a lot of the qualitative feedback from our playtesting is that we probably do have the best netcode in fighting games. And that's not something that is really fair to say for reasons that might not be intuitive. But basically, the degree to which our game is set up for rollback netcode is so ingrained from the first line of code that it's really, really fragile to develop. And what I mean by that is we've got a developer team of like 8 active equivalent people. We've got like dozens of people, but they're all part-time. And when one person submits something, it breaks our netcode if they don't know what they're doing. It's really, really finicky. And it's a pain in the butt. Like I've spent 3 months trying to get Affy and Galu compliant with our netcode after we made some adjustments to them. And if you're doing a team with 1,000 people or 200 people like Nintendo or Arxis or these big boys, it's not really sustainable to do on the level that we have. And so the fact that we're small, I would argue, allows us to make a much more sensitive netcode than some of the other big boys can. And I think that that helps a lot. And it gives us a good foundation to work on. And it might give us problems later on, but for now, it's working really, really well. And then the ecosystem. We want to share the spoils. I think that this is a problem that the FGC doesn't really pay attention to, but it's a big issue in like traditional esports. Sorry, that's a bad way to frame it. Not traditional esports, PC esports. So like Dota, CSGO, League of Legends, all of the money for like these billion-dollar games is just going to the developer, and everyone just kind of gets a trickle. And we want to make it where there's a big incentive for you to support us. And that means really rethinking the way monetization works in the game so that anybody and everybody, whether you're really skilled as a player, as an artist, as an organization, you get spoils directly proportional to what you're bringing to the community. And that required rethinking the monetization from day one to suit that. And part of that is the Hollow system, which we've already debuted. I'm not going to talk more of it here, but that's something that we will be talking about soon when it is ready. So, call to arms. Yeah, so the gameplay stuff, it's coming. I'm going to talk about why it's not gameplay showcase, but it's a gameplay update, and gameplay is crossed out in the stream. I will get to that. And if you want gameplay, you can go to vortexrising.com and you'll be playing in 10 minutes. You'll sign up, confirm your email, you get a Discord code, DM the Discord bot your email that you used to sign up on step 1, and you'll get the game and you'll be able to play it right now. So if you want gameplay, you don't even have to install the game. Just sign up on the Discord, join the Discord, and there's videos there that you can watch. So you don't even have to play if you don't want to, or install the game. It's there if you want it, but it's just not publicly available yet because it's not ready, for reasons I will elaborate on. So what is the call to arms? First, I want to say that we take the FGC seriously. We are the new guys on the block. We don't want to pretend like we know what the fuck we're doing. Sorry, I am trying not to swear, but that one just came out. I don't want to pretend like we know what we're doing. I don't want to pretend like we have all the answers. That's why we're going to you. That's why we're going to our advisors, who are very prominent FGC personalities, and I'll talk more about them in a second. But we're here because of you. We're here for you, and you tell us what you want, and we will take that feedback and we'll make the best game we can. So this call to action is about taking that initiative, that feedback to the next level. First, let me talk about the advisors we have right now. We do have 8 unique fighting game titles covered. 6 of them are non-Smash. Just like our objectives, where 1 out of 4 of them is about the game itself, 1/4 of the fighting games that we're covering are Smash platform fighters. The other 6 are unique games that are, I think we don't have any Brawlhalla people in here. We do have Brawlhalla pros in the game, but they're not part of our advisory circle. Pugsy, if you're listening, we can get you in on that if you're interested. But we have 8 fighting games covered. They're anime fighters, traditional arcade fighters, games like Mortal Kombat, games like Guilty Gear, games like BlazBlue, Street Fighter, and people who are kind of like known as a jack of all trades. 27 of them are ranked in the top 20 globally. We have 12 global championships among them, and 8 of them are also their game's top commentators. So basically every fighting game title, we have like one of their top commentators in here as well. So let's take this to another level. We already have 2,000 people in our Discord, but we want to let you know that we're ready for the real polish to come here. We're ready for another level of scrubbing and improving this system. So I keep saying Blaze Blue versus Blaz Blue. Sorry. Yes. Thank you for correcting me. The goal for the Call to Arms is to have a new wave of talent. We want to push Vortex Rising to its limits. We want to establish a meta, which is super important because if we don't know how people are going to play our game, we do have Marvel vs. Capcom players. I mentioned Tag Team. That was inclusive of Marvel vs. Capcom and Dragon Ball FighterZ. We want to establish a meta because once we know how people play the game, we want to teach people how to play the game in our gameplay. So we really want to establish the meta. We want to polish the gameplay, and again, very, very rapid iteration. And you guys want a gameplay update? Here is the first ever that I'm aware of public in-game footage, not footage, photo from our game. And this is our in-game visual overhaul 1.0. It's a cartoony style. It's got a really exaggerated shading that I think helps the characters pop, adds a lot of clarity to the game, helps them pop out from the background, and I think it looks really great. And there will be more of this in a second. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for streamers who want to see more interactivity from their fighting games. We want teachers and educators, YouTubers, who want tools to create videos or create training modules or playlists. We want pro players to help us with expression and depth. We want event organizers to help us with setup of tournaments and brackets and reporting. We want tool providers, whether you're a Smash GG or Challenge or whatever, a clip sharing program, to help us connect with that broader ecosystem and give you access to whatever you want access to from our game so that we can help you help us. And of course, we're always looking for Unity developers and experienced artists who want a very, very flexible and fun place to work. We don't have any hours. Everyone's remote. We basically have everyone be fully autonomous, and it's just a fun group, I think, honestly. And if you're any of these things, please email me at chris@vortexrising.com with the subject line answering call to arms or something about the call to arms, and I will get back to you as soon as I can about helping you help us. So the door's open. If you want to collaborate with us, we want to work with you, so please reach out. All of that said, we are just getting started. The timeline, for those of you who are not keeping track, we started working on this 365 days ago, roughly. We acquired Wavedash in April of last year, and now we're in May, and we're doing our call to arms. We have Dethroned around the corner in July. We're going to do our open pre-beta in September 2020, and we have our cross-platform launch in 2021. We absolutely have wave dashing. We have a lot of movement options that go well beyond wave dashing. In fact, we have so many movement options, we had to make wave dashing simpler of an input to make room for the more complex movement options we have in the game. So wave dashing is basically a one-button input now. So no gameplay, but we are going to showcase gameplay clips and such to you. So here's where we are. We thought that we were ready. I think we still are ready. I actually voted. We had a team vote at the beginning of the week. Are we ready for this? I voted yes. I think we're ready. We have addicting and unique gameplay. We have quote-unquote unbelievable netcode. We have a dramatic improvement in visuals from Icon's Combat Arena. But there's a couple things we want to do better. The improvement is not enough. There's more that we can do. And even though it's pre-beta, we want to avoid people saying stuff like, listen guys, it plays better than it looks. We want to give it a little bit more oomph than that. So we want the first impression to have it look as fun and exciting and stimulating and impressive and intimidating and all of those things, inspiring, as playing it is. We want that to communicate when it's in motion. And I don't think we're 100% there yet. So we are polishing on that, and we will have stuff to share soon. But I'm going to show you what we're working on, and I will show you photos and clips and screenshots of what we're working on. So you will get to see hit impact VFX in this stream, animation updates, 3D model updates, visual clarity updates, art style updates, and more. And we're also working on game-defining gameplay mode, where when we reveal the game, when people see this, they're going to go, wow, that is a brand new experience. That is a brand new game. This definitely is not Icons anymore. That's the bar we want to hit. So let's get into that. First, art style and shaders. We're going to a more stylized, less realistic, less Overwatchy, League of Legends kind of look. Valorant has the same art style as well, where you've got like these 3D models that are like lit really well, and that kind of lighting is really expensive. It's really hard to do for us, and we're just not good at it. And it doesn't necessarily look great in a fighting game. So at least with the resources that we have. So we wanted to go for a more stylized look. And so here you can just compare how different these look. Don't pay too much attention to the VFX of the green swoosh versus the little orange line. That's something that is being reworked anyway, which I'm about to cover. But just look at the characters themselves. How clearly do they pop out from the background? How do they look, from one to the other? Which looks more interesting? Which looks more exciting? Which might be easier to track if it's moving super fast, right? So we're really happy with where it's going. Next, moves and animations. This honestly is really hard to show. Animations are moving. We're taking photos here, or screenshots, I should say. But an example I can give is the Zana air dash. In Icons, it was called a air dodge. We don't have air dodging. We have air dashing. You're not invincible. And I just want to compare the, again, the animation. Omni is going to kill me for showing this because it's literally a still frame. And if you take a still frame of any animation, it's going to look really janky sometimes. But we have stretching. We have, like, not motion blur. I'm blanking on it. But, like, stretching, squashing, blurring frames. And in terms of the personality, Zana was this wrestler who was like all about the spotlight, who was all about like being the celebrity in Icons, and this is what her air dodge looked like. And even though it's a different move and it's much more movement oriented now, we wanted it to be like this like pose where she's just throwing her arms back and she's like, yo, like I'm here, like, come like celebrate me, basically. Smear frames, yeah, thank you. Sorry, just not really sleeping, so haven't. I'm losing my vocabulary here in real time, but there's also fun things we're doing with the characters, like voice lines. Some of the animation, some of the moves themselves have a lot more personality. For example, Ashani. This is a great example. So Ashani's side special is now, and I think was then, like a Rekka. It was like a pseudo Rekka. Now it's like a real Rekka. And her part 1 and 2 in Icons was like left punch, right punch. In our game, it's like left punch, jump forward, go like supersonic, super speed, like halfway across the screen, and then she like poses, and she'll like point to herself if she's on the ground, or she'll like do like this angelic pose. That probably didn't look angelic, but she'll do this angelic pose if she's in the air, and then like lightning will explode like she was just like supersonically moving across and punching like all the way across. So she like goes, there's like a pause, and then like boom, like electrical explosions behind her. If you remember Icon Zurong, where she would like dash and she would have a hitbox at the end, it's like that, except the opposite, where there's no hitbox on the end, but there's all these hitboxes in the middle. And it's a great recovery tool, it's a great thing, and there's like a voice line attached to it. And so it's really interesting to develop these kind of new moves for these characters that have a lot more personality and are a lot more suited to their, like, she's supposed to be super fast, so she's got the super fast move, you can't even see her moving, and then like the electric explodes behind her, right? About Zana, we're actually kind of changing her character with the lore. She, Erda Zarknar, Erda is her title. She's like the Pope. We don't want to call her the Pope in the game because people might not like that for obvious reasons. So she's the Erda. She like talks to like the god of her people, and her name is Zarknar now because it's, you know, me smash you die kind of a sound. And it's really fun. She's kind of our joke character. She's still a wrestler, so she's the Pope and she's a wrestler. We are going to give her a Pope-like skin where she's got like these crazy vestments and robes, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of Zana, let's talk about the model. You guys are saying in chat she's thick. Well, you haven't seen anything yet. We are going over all of the 3D models in the game and making their silhouette and their character really showcase. So here you can see we've broadened her legs, we've broadened her arms, we've made her gauntlets like way bigger. Her shoulders are like freaking crazy big now. We've also like pulled her like skirt up a little bit. And shown off her massive thighs, right? She is a beast, and she should look like one, right? And you might be asking yourself, like, why did we, you know, do this to her character? Where did we get the inspiration to do this from her character? It's funny you might ask this. This is Icon's idea, actually. This is a reference on the left here of old concept art for Zana. Look how short her skirt is here. This is what they, I guess, one of their original ideations was, and we picked this out of the tire pipeline for Zana, and we're like, we can make her look more like this now. And I think it's really, really sick how this is turning out. We're going to be giving a polish patch onto Zurong, onto Ashani, onto Kid, onto Weishan, etc., and we're really going to make their silhouettes and their idle poses more interesting as a result. So I'm really excited about this, and none of this is in the game right now, which is why we're like, you know what? We should wait. We should wait until the new models are in, all of the animations that we want are in, all of the you know, the shaders are properly tuned, and we're really excited to be pushing this in you know, a new direction. So now, Impact VFX. So Icons had basically, and again, it's hard to show with images versus animations. VFX are meant to be seen in motion, but they're not quite final yet. But the idea is, in Icons, you would punch someone, this little spark would come out, and it would like flare out, and there would be different sizes of that depending on the significance of the move. But it's kind of a one-dimensional attack. So like, how do you, like the way that they would clarify, like indicate significance of hits was making it smaller or bigger, and that was kind of it. On the right, we have a much more complicated VFX, and we can indicate significance with layers. of it. So the smallest hit might just this is the biggest one, where you have this little explosion, then this ring appears, then this like impact wave comes out, then the original icon's explosion, you can still see it at the core, that still appears at the center, at the end. And we can pull off those layers to indicate like, hey, this is a small hit, medium hit, heavy hit, and the size. And we can change the colors to be team coordinated. So if you're like, hey, I can't see, we have this complaint, the game's so fast, I don't know who's hitting who sometimes. This is going to help. Yellow hit, you won. Purple hit, they got you. The direction of the hit is still shown. So if you look at the far right one of the yellow, that ring is angled proportional to however you're being hit, and the like explosion from icons is still in the direction of you being hit as well. So that's still being retained for sure. Cool. Now, let's talk about game-defining experiences. I'm gonna say something I might surprise you, but there are a lot of games that are really good at one-on-one combat out there. I know, surprise. There's actually a genre built around one-on-one combat. It's called fighting games, and we're not gonna pretend like we're anything special because we made a fighting game with cancels in it. A platform fighting game with cancels in it. And I think that we have to go further to really differentiate ourselves, and that's where this next section comes in. We want to have the spirit that is different from every other fighting game, and it's also at like the corporate level, quote unquote, like the organizational level of collaboration. You know, I'm here in chat listening to you, and you're giving us feedback, and I'm listening, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's fix it. Let's make it better. In our Discord, we have 2,000 people leaving comments. I'm listening. I'm reading everything that I can. Our whole team is. We're going to iterate and make it better. But we want the game itself to feel collaborative. And there aren't really any collaborative fighting games out there that I'm aware of. We have a signature mode right now that is live in the game. We need to polish it. It's in the polish phase. It's called tag team mode. We previously called it team assist mode. And here is a mock-up of the UI. We have the old UI underneath the white layer, so you can kind of see how we're changing it. So we have the new UI at the bottom, the one-on-one UI at the bottom, which you've seen. And the old UI is at the top. And the old UI sucks for a million different reasons. But basically, we have these buttons and these words, and you don't really know what they do. You don't know, like we don't have an easy way of showing the cooldowns are coming off for the abilities that you can use on the tag team mode. And what we want to do is bring that all down and make the information a lot cleaner. So now you're going to see, okay, here I am a Shawnee on the bottom left. We're going to add your name in there. We're going to add the button for these icons. And I can see all of my abilities are off cooldown right now. And I'll know what they are, right? Because I've played the game. Don't worry about the coloring too much here. Like, it's not going to be as crazy as we have it here. But they'll look more like kind of like your Warcraft 3, League of Legends ability icons than they would like these weird text things with a button next to it at the top. And you can play this as a tag team or tag solo, we would call it, where you can play this one-on-one. I should add this to the slide, honestly. You can play this one-on-one, where it's you controlling all of your backup people. And you can play it 2-on-2 with somebody on your team or 3-on-3 with your team. We're really excited about this. It is super fun. It is surprisingly fun. And I think a lot of our players actually prefer this to our one-on-one gameplay. And someone asked way earlier in the stream, are we doing anything that will be iconic? I think potentially, this is my bet. My bet is that our Spark cancel system, if we do it right, could become iconic. And I think that if we do this right, this also could become iconic. And we also have other collaborative gameplay modes. This is another team-based one. It's called Vengeance mode. The idea of it is you can also play this in free-for-all as opposed to tag team mode, which you really can only do on 2 teams because of how complicated and how fast it works. Vengeance mode, basically, when you get KO'd, you can still interact with the game as like a vengeful spirit, as opposed to tag team mode, where if you're KO'd, you can come and use different tag team abilities. Power play, where you come in and you're active. Vengeance, I think, has the potential to be 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, but we have to like work on it, obviously, which I think is really the interesting part of Vengeance, where it scales a lot easier and a lot better than tag team does. Tag team is really, really chaotic with 3-on-3. I would say our 3-on-3 is as chaotic as normal 2-on-2 teams is, which is kind of hard to follow. Tag team 2-on-2 is just like a little bit more complicated than 1-on-1. Vengeance is actually a lot easier to follow, but it's going to be more like a soccer game where the action is following one place, but you still have people positioning and doing things on the fringe. And it's kind of more like League of Legends, where there's asymmetric information, where I know what our team's vengeful spirits are doing, but I don't know what the enemy team's vengeful spirits are doing, or who they are, or where they are. And so there's going to be all of these surprises for how that game gets played. That's all we can talk about on that one for now. We do have a gimmicky, fun, crazy game mode where there's a wall of lava coming and you're pushing a statue across the floor by comboing it as fast as you can. And we can do a PvP version of that, where it's like King of the Hill, you hit the statue, it's claimed by your team, and then if the enemy team hits it, they've claimed it, right? And that can be 1-on-1, free-for-all, 2-on-2 as well. We have, gosh, what was I going to say? A PvE version of that, where you're all working together to get the statue away from the lava, and you have to coordinate your attacks because the lava is too fast for a single person to do it. So there's a lot of things like that that we're thinking of, where there's collaborative spirit, and we want to have this stuff ready to show for the reveal, whereas right now they're not quite there yet. So if you couldn't tell, our collaborative play pillars are that they're very social. A part of this, honestly, is thinking about Twitch integrated game modes. Modes where you can play it on Twitch and chat is interacting and changing the game. For example, we want to have a gauntlet lobby. You can think of it like an arcade cabinet in real life, where there's a line to play the guy who's currently championing it, and if they lose, they can get in line if they want, or battle their way up. And you basically enter this queue, and we can have that be broadcast on Twitch 24/7, and have chat voting to change the state, like the platform configuration mid-game, as an example. And that's like a purely competitive example. We can have more wacky versions of things that we can do like that. Of course, chat can also bet who they think is going to win, bet in-game currency if we had anything like that. We will have something like that actually for our holos. So you could probably use your holo currency and bet that to get stuff. So yeah, that'll be really fun. We want to be very social, very collaborative. We want there to be phases of intensity. I think for the average gamer, the intensity of fighting games are too strong for the same reason as RTSs. You have to be like laser focused for a really long time. And we want to have like breaks, right? So in tag team mode, you die, you're on the bench, you can help with abilities, but it's not like you have to be like laser focused because your abilities have cooldowns and such. And we also want to be instructional, where if you play our collaborative game modes, not only will you have teammates helping you and carrying you and mentoring you, but the game itself will basically teach you how to play the one-on-one game mode in a better way. And that is it for our gameplay stuff. But I hope that for not showing the gameplay reveal, we did show off some really cool content for you to stew on and see how things are changing. And I hope you agree that you want to see our first impression have all of that stuff done, as opposed to like, 80% of the way there. So in all honesty, I think we're only like a month away, maybe 2, from showing all of this stuff off. So it's going to be worth the wait, in my opinion, and it will coincide with Dethroned 2020. So what is Dethroned 2020? Dethroned is a special format online tournament to dethrone the existing kings and queens of Vortex Rising. So these are the people who have been on our pre-beta and are the undisputed 1, 2, 3, 4 top players. And right now, we have 2 kings identified who I will single out. And by the end of May, the end of this coming month, we will identify who the final 4 are for this competition. Stage Builder is a great idea. That's something that is out of scope for us right now, but that would be very sick. Dethroned, it has $1,000 of prizing from myself personally, but we will also have a compendium. And as far as I know, this is the first compendium in fighting games. I know that we've done Matcherino, like prize pot contributions and fundraisers, but as far as I know, this is the only compendium with digital goods. Maybe Rivals of Aether did this. Chat can correct me. I legitimately don't know. But this tournament will have free entry for anyone. You do not have to pay to enter the tournament. You do not have to pay to qualify for the tournament. By the way, the beta access is free as well, so there is nothing stopping you from entering this. And it debuts in July, so yes, as PokeNerd said, you have 2 months to get good. Technically 3, because the way the tournament works, you basically have until the end of July to win. So, let's talk about the format. So the kings right now are Valnashir and Cicero. Valnashir is so good right now, he can beat everybody pretty much. I think not pretty much, actually. He only plays with random right now, and he's pretty much our undisputed top player. We don't even know what his full potential is if he was allowed to pick the character he wants to counter the enemy's character. I think he could do a lot better than he's done recently, only because people are starting to catch up to him. Which, if anything, that is a signal to you all that there is a chance that you can beat these guys. Cicero, our undisputed number 2, vying for number 1 right now. He has started to win some tournaments that Valnashir has entered, and I'm really excited to find out who all of our kings and queens are by the end of May, based on our power rankings. So, there are dethroned phases. There are 3 phases to this. It's really different. Again, we want to do something cool and fun that will be a spectacle and get everyone really excited about it. So, essentially, the first 2 phases are going to happen concurrently every week in July. And the way it works is at the beginning of the week, there's a qualifier. Then we have the challengers fight the kings and queens during the week. And at the end of July, anyone who beats the kings and queens can participate in the coronation, which is a final spectacle. Before I advance, I just want to acknowledge a question in chat here. It's Lask asks, is the game itself going to be free? No. If we're an indie, which we are, indies can't do free-to-play, well, as evidenced by Icon's Combat Arena. So we are going to do a paid game, which will be $18-ish when we go into pre-beta in September. And that's what we're going to do, and that will include potentially all future characters as well. That is not confirmed. So we might do character DLC, but that is the idea. It's a paid game. Maybe what we'll do instead is there'll be like a special pack where if you don't buy it for the base price, you can get all future DLC included. That's probably what we're going to do. But it's going to be a paid game. Now, if things go really well and we are not indie all of a sudden, then yeah, we would want to make it free to play, and obviously give people who bought the paid stuff some really swaggy things because they got us there. Jose reading my mind here by saying it would be cool if there was a minigame section that would help you practice the core mechanics. That is what that totem thing where you escape the lava. I am all about that. And if you're someone who's creative and you want to think about fun things like that, join our Discord. Throw those ideas out there. I am looking for those. We are really focused on what those mini games are right now. And we have some really cool ideas. For example, this would be, we have a trial that is for every character. So, for example, Wei Shan. The Wei Shan trial, level 1, we might make multiple levels. So level 1 Wei Shan would go like this. It would look, if you're new to the game, it would feel like a tutorial, but it's actually a mini game. So the way it works is you go like, okay, you spawn, and you're in the stage, and it goes, okay, hit the target with forward attack. And you're like, okay, if you try anything besides forward attack, it's not going to work. That's easy. Everyone's done that before. And then you hit it, and it's going to put another projectile in the sky, and it's going to be like, you can only hit this with up special, right? And so you're like, okay, cool, like I'll hit that with up special. Then it will say, there'll be another target on the other end of the stage, and it will hit that with back air. And you go, okay, I can do that. And then it will say, hit this other one with up special. Hit this one with up special part 2, which is a dunk move, right? And then what you'll realize is this is actually a time challenge because everything combos into itself. So you can literally forward attack, cancel up special, cancel back air, cancel up special, do the second part of the up special, and do everything I just said in the span of like 5 seconds or less. And it'll be like a trial, and we can have that go out for like 20 hits. And it'll be like, how fast can you do these combos? And what's going to be interesting is that would actually be real viable combos you could do in a real game. Obviously not the up special, air dash back air, but forward attack side special or forward attack up air or up special absolutely are. So that's one idea, and I would love any ideas you guys have because that's something I'm super focused on. So now progressing to Dethroned. Apologies, I got so into that tangent. Holy crap, I forgot what I was talking about. All right, we're here to talk about Dethroned. So the weekly qualifier will be on weekends. We're going to have 1 to 2 days of a double elimination tournament, depending on how many people enter. And there will be a 1-on-1 and a 2v2 tag team variation of Dethroned, which is why I want to get to 4 kings and queens so that we can have two tag teams included in the bracket, as you'll see how this works. So we're going to whittle this down to 8 players or 8 teams for phase 2 every week. Every week we're going to do a rolling qualifier. So if you qualify, you'll schedule a challenge on Monday through Friday, and you'll battle the king and queen. So for example, in 1-on-1, you would fight a Cicero for best 2 out of 3, and if you win, you'll fight Valnashir 3 out of 5, and if you win, you're done. You're set. You are now qualified for phase 3. If somebody after you beats Cicero, beats Valnashir, they'll then have to fight you and see if they're better than you. If they win, they're now ahead of you in line. And then the order would be Cicero, Valnashir, first person, second person, and so on and so forth. Once you beat Valnashir, you're locked in on your position, and the only way you can change is if someone else beats Valnashir and then fights you and you beat them. You're now even further ahead of where Valnashir was. And the same thing would work for 2-on-2, but we only have one team right now, which is Cicero and Valnashir on one team together. And so here's a representation of what happens in phase 3. It's important I have a visual here because I'm not aware of this bracket being done anywhere else. I'm calling it a ladder bracket or a sequence bracket. And the idea is the bottom seed fights the second from the bottom seed. The winner then plays the third from the bottom seed. The winner from that plays the fourth from the bottom seed, and so on and so forth until we fight the top seed and it's done. The way you can think about it is the seed order basically gets sequential buys such that there's only one set played per round. And we're going to do these one per day to really draw it out, build the hype, build the practice, build the tension, make it as intense as we can for our competitors and fun, in my opinion. So you'll have an entire day to prepare for your next match against whoever it is. And then we'll crown our winner. And that's the challenge. So the challengers who beat Valnashir or the Cicero Valnashir tag team will then participate in the ladder bracket at the end of July, and it will be a first to 4, 4 out of 7 to decide who progresses. I wanted to make it interesting. It actually isn't that complicated. The analogy I've made is think about the Elite Four in Pokemon, right? You beat the Elite Four, but then Gary beat them first, so now you have to beat Gary. That's all that this is. There's the Elite Four, you beat them, and then if anyone else beats Gary, then you have to beat the guy who beat Gary if you come up and you beat the Elite Four. And then that's the placement where Aurelia or whatever he is from Pokemon Blue with the Dugong, would fight the ghost guy. I don't even remember who the Elite Four is, right? But that's the idea, is at the end, the Elite Four battle their way up to decide who is the actual most elite of them all. So now we'll talk about next steps. It's getting dark here. Join our Discord. You will play the game right now. You will... what happens when no one beats Cicero and Valnashir? If no one beats Cicero and Valnashir, then Cicero will fight Valnashir. And the winner will get, their cut of the $1,000 plus all the compendium value. Exactly, as Cicero said. Then Cicero beats Valnashir for the grand prize. So, you can play right now, sign up, join our Discord. There were issues in the past about getting your Discord invite. I've hopefully cleaned that up and fixed that. But it's as easy as signing up. You'll get access right away. You should get an email asking for your confirmation. You fill that in right away. I'm talking about less than 5 minutes here, folks. If you don't get it, something went wrong. Check your spam. Try a different email. But it should be really, really fast. And then every day we have tournaments. Monday and Wednesday we have a casual Swiss tournament. Friday, which is today, we have a casual Swiss tag team tournament, which I'm actually competing in. It's in 30 minutes. I am not ready whatsoever. I'm going to get bodied. It's fine. It's Swiss, so I'm not going to get eliminated. I'm going to get to just play a bunch of different people. And if you join, you will have time to register for this tournament, which is starting in 30 minutes, and you'll get to participate. And then Saturday and Sunday, we have prized double elimination tournaments as opposed to Swiss. Those are Saturday is one-on-one, Sunday is tag team, and again, tournaments every single day, and then patch notes 3 times a week. The way this works is we have a build that will go live, and until it's gone through the ringer of the Swiss tournaments, we won't put it onto the competitive build. And we only update the competitive build once a week. So when you're participating in the prized tournaments, You're playing on a competitive build, which is only being updated once a week on Tuesday. But so you know what you're playing, you know what's happening, you understand the patch notes, etc. But yes, we are moving fast. And every single conversation, this is a chance for you guys to join the chat, ask questions, give us feedback, and steer the direction of the game. So we're looking for people who, with the call to arms, we're looking for people who not only want to lab out some tech that becomes the meta and changes the way the game's played, we're looking for people who want to change the way the game is designed. So if you're a streamer, a teacher, educator, pro player, tool provider, event organizer, Unity developer, artist, please email me and we will be in touch. And I am really excited to work with you, and I'm really excited to make Vortex Rising, and I am really excited to get fighting games the attention that they deserve from the broader gaming community. So, in my opinion, fighting games should be the biggest genre, and I am not going to stop working on Vortex Rising until it is. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And with that, I need to prep for this tag team tournament. I need to get some water, I need to get some coffee, and I need to kick some ass. AKA get bodied by Val, Mashir, and Cicero, who are teaming up for the first time in this tournament. So, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I will see you all there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for giving us a shot, and I hope you guys have a great night and a great Friday. Have a good one.